Aaron wiped the dust from the old manuscript, feeling the brittle pages crack slightly under his fingers. The library was silent except for the soft hum of lights overhead. He had spent years searching for lost histories, but this time something felt different. Hidden inside the manuscript was a folded sheet of thin, yellowed paper. The symbols on it were unlike anything he had seen before. They formed a map, not of Earth, not even of the solar system he knew. Instead, it showed a desert world bathed in two suns. Aaron's heart raced as he studied the map. He traced the lines with his finger, imagining a lost pharaoh's tomb buried under endless sand. According to a small note scribbled in the margins, the treasure inside burned twice as bright as any star. Many had searched for it before, the note said, but none had returned. Aaron felt a strange pull toward the map, as if it was calling him to follow its path. He closed the manuscript carefully and stood. His small apartment was filled with old relics and books, but now they seemed dull compared to the adventure waiting for him. He knew he could not do this alone. The next day, he met Lena at the engineering lab. She was adjusting a small hover drone that could scan difficult terrain. Lena had worked with Aaron before on minor expeditions, but she was always skeptical about legends. "I found something," Aaron said, spreading the map across the table. Lena leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. "Two suns? Are you serious?" she asked. "This looks like a story, not a real map," Aaron smiled. "I thought so too, but the manuscript is real. The symbols match old records from multiple planets. This is not just a story. It is a location, and someone tried to hide it." Lena touched the map carefully. "If this is true, it will be dangerous. Deserts can kill even the strongest explorers. And a tomb that burns twice as bright? That sounds like more than just heat." "I know," Aaron said. "But think of what we could learn. This could change everything we know about ancient civilizations." Lena studied him for a moment. Then she nodded. "All right, I'm in. But we need a ship and a pilot who can handle dangerous skies." The very next morning, they visited Rami, a pilot who had earned a reputation for completing impossible missions. He examined the map, turning it this way and that. "Two suns, huh?" he said. "And you want to land in a desert planet where nobody has returned?" "Yes," Aaron replied. "We need someone who can guide us safely." Rami laughed, a deep, confident sound. "I like dangerous missions. Count me in, but we do this smart. No rushing, no guessing. We need plans, supplies, and backup systems." Within days, the trio prepared for the journey. Lena upgraded their hover drones and portable scanners to survive harsh heat and shifting sand. Aaron studied ancient languages and symbols, hoping to decode anything that might guide them inside the tomb. Rami checked the ship, repairing engines and shields for long desert flights. The excitement was almost unbearable. Each of them felt it, a pull toward something ancient and powerful. Finally, they launched from the spaceport. The engines hummed steadily as the ship left the atmosphere and soared into the glittering sky. Outside, twin suns lit the horizon just as the map had shown. Aaron stared at them, feeling a strange warmth and hope. It was not just light. It felt alive, as if the planet itself was waiting for them. The journey to Solara was long and quiet. The team spent their time reviewing plans, checking instruments, and sharing stories of previous adventures. Lena often laughed at Aaron's careful notes, but she respected his knowledge. Rami kept a watchful eye on the ship, scanning for meteor storms and cosmic radiation. Even though the desert planet was far away, the team felt closer than ever, bound by a shared purpose. As Solara came into view, the twin suns glowed in perfect alignment. One was a bright golden light, the other a softer orange, casting long shadows across the planet's surface. The desert stretched endlessly, glittering faintly as if covered with tiny crystals. The map had been right. The tomb was out there waiting for them. Aaron felt a shiver of excitement and fear. The adventure was no longer in stories or maps. It was real, and they were standing at the edge of history. Whatever lay in the Pharaoh's tomb, the treasure that burned twice as bright, it would test them all. Courage, skill, and heart would be needed to survive. Rami set the ship on a careful descent, and Lena activated the scanners. The desert shimmered under the twin suns, hiding dangers and secrets alike. "This is it," Aaron whispered. "The real journey begins now." The sands of Solara stretched ahead, endless and mysterious. Somewhere beneath them lay a tomb full of fire, light, and ancient knowledge. Aaron, Lena, and Rami prepared themselves. The hidden map had led them to a place where human courage and wisdom would be tested. The twin suns shone brightly, signaling the start of a journey that could change humanity forever. The ship landed on Solara with a soft tremor. Outside, the desert stretched endlessly under the twin suns. The golden and orange light reflected off the sand, making it shine like millions of tiny mirrors. Aaron, Lena, and Rami stepped out carefully, their boots sinking slightly into the glittering dunes. The heat was intense, but the team was ready. Their suits protected them from the harsh sun and shifting winds, but nothing could hide the dazzling beauty of the desert. "This place is incredible," Lena said, scanning the horizon with her binoculars. "But it is dangerous. These reflections could confuse anyone. It will be easy to lose direction." Rami adjusted the ship's navigation beacon. "We stay close to the ship until we understand the terrain. Then we move toward the map's coordinates. Step by step. No rushing." Aaron unfolded the ancient map again. The symbols pointed toward a valley surrounded by high dunes. "The tomb should be there," he said. "We just have to get past the desert." They began their trek carefully. The sand sparkled under the twin suns, creating strange illusions. Sometimes a dune appeared larger than it was, hiding deep crevices. At other times, distant shadows looked like towers or walls. But when they moved closer, the shapes disappeared. Lena's scanners detected the uneven ground and sudden dips in the sand. "This desert is alive in a way," she said. "It is not just sand. Something in it reacts to light." As they moved further, a sudden sandstorm rose. The wind howled, carrying fine particles that stung their suits. The twin suns flickered behind the storm, making it almost impossible to see. Rami guided them to a small rocky outcrop and signaled for a pause. "We waited out here," he said. "The desert can trick you if you move too fast." While they sheltered, Aaron noticed faint carvings on the rocks. They glowed softly under the suns, showing shapes of a pharaoh wearing a headdress with two suns above it. The symbols were like those on the map. Aaron touched them gently. "These carvings are warnings. They tell travelers to be careful. The tomb is protected by more than sand and wind. It will test anyone who enters." Lena studied the carvings. "This is not just a tomb. It is a puzzle. We need to think, not just walk blindly." The sandstorm passed as quickly as it had arrived. The desert seemed calm again, but the reflections were stronger than before. The team continued, walking slowly and marking each step. Every now and then, Lena used the scanners to measure the stability of the sand. Deep cracks sometimes appeared beneath them, hiding dangerous traps. By mid-afternoon, they reached a part of the desert that shimmered like a mirror lake. The sands reflected the twin suns perfectly, creating illusions of floating platforms and distant walls. Aaron felt dizzy from the reflections. He realized that walking in this area required complete focus. One wrong step could lead them into a trap. "I think the tomb is beyond this part," Aaron said, pointing toward a faint outline of rocky hills in the distance. "We need to cross carefully." Rami led the way, stepping slowly and checking the ground with a sensor rod. Lena followed, scanning for hidden pitfalls. Aaron stayed close, holding the map and noting the symbols along the way. As they advanced, the desert's illusions became more complex. They saw small glowing figures moving in the distance, but every time they moved closer, the figures vanished. "This is tricky," Lena said. "The desert wants to confuse us. We must trust each other and the instruments." After hours of careful navigation, they finally reached the edge of the valley marked on the map. The twin suns hung low, casting long golden shadows across the sand. In the distance, they could see a massive stone structure partially buried in dunes. Its surface glowed faintly, as if the twin suns themselves were reflected in the stone. "The tomb," Aaron whispered. "We found it." As they approached, the air grew warmer. Lena checked the scanners. "The energy readings are high here. Something powerful is inside. We must be careful." Rami looked at the entrance, which was almost completely covered in sand. "We will need to dig, but we do it slowly. The desert is full of surprises." They began to clear the sand, uncovering strange symbols carved into the stone. The carvings told the story of the pharaoh and the treasure that burned with the light of two suns. Aaron traced the symbols with his fingers, feeling a strange connection. It was as if the tomb recognized him as someone who belonged there. As the last of the sand was cleared, a low rumble shook the valley. The twin suns reflected off the stone, creating a blinding light. The team shielded their eyes. When the light dimmed, they saw the entrance fully revealed. The massive stone door stood before them, engraved with hieroglyphs that seemed alive. Rami stepped forward. "This is it. The real challenge begins now, Aaron nodded. The desert tested us and we survived. But the tomb will test us even more. We must be ready for anything. The twin suns shone brightly above, casting long shadows across the entrance. The desert had given them a path, but it had also shown its power. Every step beyond the door would be a test of courage, intelligence, and heart. Together, they took a deep breath and stepped toward the Pharaoh's tomb, ready to face the mysteries that awaited inside. The massive stone door of the Pharaoh's tomb towered above Aaron, Lena, and Rami. It was carved from dark rock that shimmered faintly under the twin suns. Strange hieroglyphs glowed along the edges, telling stories of an ancient civilization that had harnessed the power of two suns. Aaron traced the symbols with his fingers, feeling a strange energy pass through him. The tomb was not only a resting place but a test. Every mark seemed alive, as if watching them. "This is more than just a door," Lena said. "There are mechanisms here, probably traps. We cannot force it open." Rami stepped back and examined the surrounding area. "I can use the ship's sensors to detect hidden triggers, but we must proceed carefully. One wrong move and this could collapse or seal itself forever." Aaron nodded. The map showed something like this. The tomb waits for those who are worthy. We need to understand it, not rush it. Using their tools, Lena scanned the hieroglyphs and uncovered faint grooves in the stone. They formed a pattern that resembled the twin suns on the map. She realized it might be a combination lock of some kind, requiring knowledge of the Pharaoh's symbols and the alignment of the suns. "We need to match the pattern to the sunlight," Lena said. "The suns must be in the right position." Aaron looked up at the sky. The golden sun was low and the orange sun hung slightly higher. He positioned mirrors they had brought to reflect light onto the symbols in the correct sequence. As the beams of light touched the carved hieroglyphs, the stone began to hum. The ground vibrated lightly and faint lines of energy traced across the door. Slowly, the massive stone began to slide open, revealing a dark corridor. The air smelled dry and ancient, carrying a faint warmth from the tomb's hidden energy. Rami stepped forward cautiously. "Remember, the map warned that the treasure inside burns with energy. This could be dangerous. Keep your scanners active and watch for traps." They entered the corridor, their lights cutting through the darkness. The walls were lined with carvings depicting the Pharaoh standing between two suns. The hieroglyphs seemed to tell a story of courage, wisdom, and sacrifice. Aaron ran his fingers over the carvings, feeling a connection that was hard to explain. "It is as if the tomb knows we are here," Aaron whispered. "It is testing us already, even before we reach the treasure." Lena scanned the floor carefully. Strange lines glowed faintly beneath the dust, forming patterns like circuits. These might be pressure triggers. We need to step carefully, or the tomb could seal itself or worse. Rami led the way slowly, placing sensors on the ground before each step. The corridor twisted and turned, making it difficult to see the end. Small rooms branched off, filled with statues of guardians holding spears of glowing light. They seemed alive, their eyes glowing as if following the team. "This is incredible," Lena said quietly. "The craftsmanship, the energy. It is unlike anything we have seen in history." Aaron felt a mix of awe and caution. The Pharaoh must have wanted to protect the treasure. Only those who understand courage and wisdom can reach it. After walking for what felt like hours, they reached a large chamber. The walls were covered with symbols that glowed brighter than before. In the center stood a pedestal, carved with a symbol of the twin suns. A faint golden light hovered above it, almost like it was breathing. Lena checked her instruments. "The energy readings here are very high. Whatever is above that pedestal could be the treasure. It is powerful, maybe too powerful for humans to touch without preparation." Rami stepped closer and examined the room. The corridor was only the first test. This chamber is the real challenge. It is protected by energy we do not fully understand. Aaron studied the hieroglyphs carefully. They described guardians made of fire and light that would test those who entered. The Pharaoh had created trials that could judge courage, intelligence, and the purity of heart. He realized that the glowing pedestal was not just a treasure. It was a reflection of the human spirit, designed to respond to those who were worthy. The team paused, feeling the weight of the tomb's presence. The twin suns' energy seemed to pulse through the walls, illuminating hidden carvings that appeared only when the light hit them in a certain way. Aaron understood that this tomb was alive in its own way, and it demanded respect and understanding. "We need a plan," Aaron said. "Rushing will not work. The tomb is alive and it will test us. We must move together. Trust each other and think carefully. Lena nodded, her eyes fixed on the glowing symbols. We prepare for anything. Traps, puzzles, or even guardians. We have to be ready for all of it. Rami placed his hand on the pedestal's edge, feeling the hum of energy. I can feel it. It is powerful. But it is not hostile, yet. It is waiting for the right people. Aaron took a deep breath, feeling both fear and excitement. The tomb had passed its first test. They had entered it together, alive and aware. Now the true journey began. The corridor had ended, and the heart of the Pharaoh's tomb awaited. With careful steps, the team moved forward, deeper into the chamber, ready to face the trials that lay ahead. The twin suns above illuminated the entrance behind them, a reminder of the light that guided them, and the power that waited within the tomb. The chamber beyond the pedestal stretched far into darkness. The walls were carved with intricate patterns that seemed to move in the light of their torches. Aaron, Lena, and Rami stepped carefully, feeling the pulse of energy from the tomb under their feet. The air was warm, almost alive, and each step seemed to echo with a soft hum. This place is bigger than I imagined, Lena whispered. And the energy? It is everywhere. We need to be careful. One wrong step could trigger something we do not understand. Aaron nodded. The map mentioned a labyrinth. We are inside it now. The tomb will test us not just physically, but with puzzles and challenges we cannot predict. The first corridor split into 3 paths. Each path glowed faintly, reflecting the twin suns from above. Symbols on the walls indicated choices, but their meaning was unclear. Aaron examined the inscriptions. These symbols are clues. They tell a story of the Pharaoh, but also of those who seek the treasure. We need to read carefully. Lena adjusted her scanner to detect hidden mechanisms. The paths might not be what they seem. The tomb could be alive, changing as we move. We should stay together and watch for traps. They chose the middle path, stepping cautiously over glowing tiles. The floor shifted slightly under their weight, but the team moved slowly, trusting each other. Small lights floated in the air like fireflies, illuminating carvings of the Pharaoh performing rituals under 2 suns. Aaron realized the lights were not just decoration. They highlighted safe paths. As they advanced, the corridor twisted and turned, sometimes narrowing, sometimes opening into small chambers filled with puzzles. One room had a series of levers, each carved with symbols. A faint voice echoed in Aaron's mind, as if the tomb spoke to him, guiding his choices. These levers, Aaron said, they correspond to the stars. I think we must pull them in the order of the twin suns' movement. Lena worked quickly, calculating angles and light patterns. Rami stood guard, watching for hidden traps. Together they solved the puzzle, and the floor slid open, revealing a staircase descending further into the tomb. This is incredible, Lena said. The Pharaoh anticipated knowledge of astronomy, light, and geometry. Only someone who understands these could progress. The staircase led to a larger chamber. The walls glowed softly with inscriptions, showing warriors and scholars standing beside the Pharaoh. At the center, a pool of light floated above the floor, reflecting both suns. The light was warm and pulsing, as if breathing. This must be another test, Rami said. We cannot just touch the pool. It could be a trap. Aaron studied the inscriptions. It is a test of courage and understanding. The Pharaoh honored those who could see beyond fear. We need to reach the other side without disturbing the light. The team moved slowly, stepping over shadows and glowing platforms. The light seemed to shift with every step, revealing hidden gaps. Lena used her tools to measure the energy fields, finding patterns that guided them safely across. Rami's balance and quick reflexes helped him steady the floating platforms. Finally, they reached the far side of the chamber. Aaron placed his hand near the pool, feeling the energy hum through him. The inscriptions glowed brighter, and the air vibrated with warmth. He realized the tomb was testing not just their minds, but their hearts. They had to show courage, wisdom, and unity to proceed. This is more than a tomb, Aaron said quietly. It is a reflection of humanity. Courage, intelligence, and heart are what will lead us to the treasure. Lena smiled. We have made it this far because we trusted each other. That might be the true key. The pool of light receded slowly, revealing a corridor ahead. It was narrower and darker, but the walls glowed faintly with ancient symbols. Aaron noticed the carvings depicted trials yet to come, guardians, traps, and tests of loyalty. We must be ready, Rami said. The tomb will become more challenging. The Pharaoh wanted only those who are worthy to succeed. As they advanced, they saw faint shapes in the distance. Figures of fire and light moved gracefully, almost like dancers. Aaron felt a shiver of both fear and excitement. These must be the Guardians. The inscriptions mentioned beings that test courage, wisdom, and heart. We will meet them soon. Lena adjusted her scanner. They are not attacking. They seem to observe. We need to stay calm and show respect. The corridor ended at a large chamber. The walls were carved with images of the Pharaoh holding a glowing orb between two pillars, shining like two suns. The floor pulsed with energy and the light illuminated the entire chamber. This is it, Aaron said, the heart of the labyrinth. The next trial begins here. Rami stepped forward. We have done well so far, but this will test us in ways we cannot predict. Stay close, stay alert. Lena took a deep breath. We face this together. That is our strength. Aaron looked at the glowing orb in the center. Its light was warm and alive, filling the chamber with a sense of ancient power. The Pharaoh's tomb had tested their courage, intelligence, and teamwork. The final trials would be even greater, but the team was ready. Together they stepped into the chamber, prepared to face the Guardians and the treasure that burned like two suns. The labyrinth of light had tested them, and they had succeeded. Now the heart of the tomb awaited their courage and understanding. The chamber glowed with a warm, golden light. At its center floated the orb that shimmered like two suns. Aaron, Lena, and Rami stepped closer, feeling the hum of energy that vibrated through the air. The walls around them flickered, and suddenly, figures of fire appeared. They were tall and humanoid, but their bodies were made entirely of light and flame. Their eyes glowed like molten gold, and they moved gracefully, circling the team. They are alive, Lena whispered. The Guardians, just like the inscription said. Rami adjusted his scanner. They do not seem hostile yet, but we cannot take any chances. Stay alert. Aaron stepped forward cautiously, holding his hands out. We come in peace. We seek only knowledge and the treasure to benefit humanity. The Guardians stopped circling. One stepped closer, its flames flickering in patterns that seemed almost like speech. Aaron felt a strange warmth in his chest, as if the Guardian was trying to communicate without words. He realized the trial was not about fighting, but proving courage and heart. Lena's voice was steady. We have faced every challenge together. We have trusted each other and the tomb. That must count for something. The Guardian extended an arm, pointing to 3 separate platforms that floated above the floor. Each platform had a glowing symbol matching the twin suns. Aaron understood that the Guardians were giving them a choice. One path might lead forward, another could be dangerous, and the third might test them in a different way. Step carefully, Rami said. We must observe, think, and act as one. No mistakes, Aaron led, stepping onto the left platform. It held firm, glowing brighter under his feet. Lena followed onto the middle platform, and Rami chose the right. The platforms rose slowly, moving in unison, carrying them across a glowing pit of light. The Guardians circled above, their flames reflecting in the energy below. As they reached the end, the platform stopped. The Guardians shifted, forming a circle around a central pedestal. The orb above floated higher, radiating even more intense light. Aaron felt its warmth like sunlight on his skin, and realized it was testing not their strength but their understanding. One Guardian moved forward and hovered in front of Aaron. Its flames pulsed in a steady rhythm. Aaron closed his eyes and let himself feel the energy. He imagined the treasure being used not for selfish gain, but to help humanity grow. His courage, hope, and heart seemed to resonate with the Guardian. The flames flickered and brightened, signaling approval. Next, Lena stepped forward. The Guardian before her scanned her carefully. Lena thought of her team, of how they had worked together, trusted each other, and survived the desert. She imagined using the treasure to protect explorers, scientists, and all people seeking knowledge. The Guardian's flames swirled in recognition and then stepped back. Rami followed. He felt his heart pound as the Guardian circled him. He thought of humanity, of bravery, and the importance of unity. He imagined sharing the treasure wisely. The flames reflected his determination, and the Guardian seemed to bow slightly. The 3 Guardians then combined into a single column of light, rising toward the orb. The orb pulsed, and a path of glowing energy formed across the chamber floor. It led directly to a large doorway carved with symbols of the twin suns. The Guardians accepted us, Aaron said, his voice filled with awe. They have judged our courage, wisdom, and heart. The path is open. Lena smiled, but her eyes were serious. The orb is still powerful. Whatever is beyond this door could be even more dangerous. Rami adjusted the scanners. We move together, one step at a time. We stay focused and respect whatever comes next. They stepped onto the glowing path, feeling the hum of energy beneath their feet. The Guardians hovered briefly, then dissipated into flickers of light that floated toward the twin suns, as if sending a message of approval. The path led them to the massive doorway, which opened slowly as they approached. Inside was a smaller chamber. At the center floated a glowing orb, suspended between two pillars that radiated warmth and light like the twin suns above. Aaron could feel the energy emanating from it. It was beautiful, powerful, and alive. This is it, Lena said quietly. The treasure. Aaron stepped closer, feeling the pull of the orb. It was not a simple object. It seemed to respond to his thoughts, glowing brighter as he imagined using it to help humanity. The twin suns reflected in its surface, and Aaron understood that this treasure was not just gold or jewels. It was knowledge, energy, and power beyond imagination. Rami approached cautiously, scanning the orb. The inscriptions were right. This burns like two suns, but it is not harmful to those who are worthy. We have been tested and we passed. Now it is up to us how we use it. The chamber hummed with life. The Guardian's test was complete. The tomb had judged them and they had proven themselves. Aaron looked at Lena and Rami, feeling gratitude and pride. Together they had faced the desert, the labyrinth, and the Guardians. Now the final decision awaited. The twin suns outside shone brightly, reflecting the light of the orb. It was a reminder that courage, wisdom, and heart could illuminate even the darkest places. Humanity had reached the heart of the Pharaoh's tomb, and the treasure that burned twice as bright was within reach. Aaron took a deep breath. The final choice is ours. We must use this wisely for the good of all people, not just ourselves. Lena and Rami nodded. The chamber was silent except for the hum of energy. The Guardians had tested them and vanished, leaving the orb waiting for the team to decide the fate of its power. The chamber was silent except for the soft hum of the glowing orb. Aaron, Lena, and Rami stood before it, feeling the warmth of its energy wash over them. The twin suns outside reflected in the orb, making it shine brighter than anything they had ever seen. The energy was powerful, alive, and almost intelligent. Aaron knew that this treasure was more than just light. It was a gift that could change humanity if used wisely. We've come this far, Aaron said quietly. The Guardians have tested us, the labyrinth has challenged us, and now the choice is ours. Lena stepped closer. It feels alive. I can sense it responding to our thoughts. It knows what we hope for and what we fear. Rami's voice was steady, though his eyes reflected awe. The inscriptions warned that the treasure could destroy anyone who tried to take it selfishly. We have to think carefully. This is bigger than us. Aaron reached out slowly, feeling the hum of energy through his fingertips. Images flashed in his mind, visions of entire colonies advancing in knowledge, medicine, and science. He saw cities powered by clean energy, explorers traveling safely to distant worlds, and people learning from the wisdom of the past. The treasure could do all this, but it required the right choice. It is not just power, Aaron whispered. It is knowledge, energy, and responsibility. If we take it only for ourselves, it could destroy everything. Lena placed her hand beside his. We have always worked together. We must continue to think beyond ourselves. The treasure is meant to benefit humanity, not just one person or group. Rami nodded. Agreed, we share it. We use it to help others grow. That is the only way to honor the Pharaoh and the tomb. Aaron closed his eyes, focusing on the idea of sharing the treasure. The orb pulsed in response, sending waves of golden light across the chamber. Symbols on the walls glowed, forming images of people learning, building, and exploring. The twin suns reflected in the orb, and its warmth grew stronger, filling the chamber with a soft golden glow. It recognizes our choice, Lena said, her voice filled with wonder. It knows we are worthy of its power because we think of others. Aaron stepped forward fully, placing both hands near the orb. The energy flowed around him, warm and powerful, connecting to his mind and heart. He could feel the history of the Pharaoh, the trials, and the Guardians merging with his own thoughts. The orb expanded its light, showing visions of humanity reaching for the stars, growing wiser and stronger. Rami watched closely. This is incredible. The tomb is not just a test. It is a lesson. It teaches us that humanity's greatest strength is unity, courage, and heart. The light from the orb grew until it filled the chamber completely. The twin suns outside shone brightly, reflecting in the energy like two mirrors of fire. Aaron realized that the treasure was sharing itself with the universe. Knowledge and energy were streaming out from the orb, traveling through the stars, reaching distant colonies. "We did it," Lena said softly. "We chose wisely. The treasure is helping everyone, not just us." Aaron smiled, feeling a deep sense of peace. The Pharaoh designed this. Only those who think beyond themselves, who act with courage and heart, can unlock its true power. Humanity has been given a gift, and now it is our responsibility to honor it. Rami stepped closer to the orb, letting the energy wash over him. "It feels like hope. The tomb has shown us that humanity can achieve great things when we work together and think beyond ourselves." The chamber began to calm as the energy settled. The glowing orb returned to its place between the twin pillars, radiant but no longer overwhelming. The Guardians' test was complete. They had passed not because they were strong or clever alone, but because they had chosen to act for the good of all. Aaron, Lena, and Rami took a moment to look at each other. The journey had changed them. They had faced the desert, the labyrinth, and the Guardians. Now they had made a choice that would affect countless lives. The twin suns outside shone brightly, reflecting the energy that flowed from the tomb and into the universe. "We need to record everything," Lena said. "The knowledge, the inscriptions, the mechanisms. Humanity should learn from this, just as the Pharaoh intended." Aaron nodded. "We will, and we will use what we have received to explore, to protect, and to help our people grow. This is just the beginning." Rami looked toward the entrance of the tomb. "We survived the tests and we chose wisely. Now we must return and share it. Humanity will not just survive, it will thrive." The team prepared to leave the chamber. The orb continued to glow softly, a symbol of hope, courage, and unity. As they walked back through the labyrinth, the energy seemed to guide them, illuminating the path and showing the way. The Pharaoh's tomb had tested them and given them a gift, but it also left a lesson. Greatness comes from wisdom, courage, and heart. Outside, the twin suns shone over the desert, casting golden light across the dunes. The tomb stood silently, its energy now spreading across the stars. Aaron, Lena, and Rami gazed at the horizon, knowing that humanity had been given a treasure far greater than gold or jewels. The treasure was knowledge, power, and hope, and it had been entrusted to those who would use it for the good of all. The twin suns reflected in their eyes as they prepared to return home. The choice of humanity had been made, and the future now shone as brightly as the treasure they had unlocked. The journey back to their ship was quiet, but filled with a sense of accomplishment. Aaron, Lena, and Rami walked carefully through the labyrinth of light, following the path the tomb had guided them on. The golden glow of the orb still lingered in the corridors, reminding them of the tests they had passed and the lessons they had learned. Each step felt lighter than before, as if the tomb itself approved of their choice. "We have done something incredible," Lena said softly. "Not just for ourselves, but for everyone. The tomb's energy will help humanity, and we were part of that." Aaron smiled, feeling a warmth that had nothing to do with the twin suns outside. The Pharaoh designed it for that reason, to test those who could act beyond selfish desires. We proved ourselves, and now humanity can benefit from what we learned. Rami adjusted the scanners on their ship. "The tomb has given us knowledge and energy, but it has also shown us a lesson about responsibility. We cannot misuse this. We must share it wisely." As they stepped out into the desert, the twin suns reflected in the sand, casting long golden shadows. The chamber behind them was sealed once more, its secrets safe for those who were worthy. Aaron looked back one last time, feeling gratitude for the ancient civilization that had trusted humanity to act with courage, wisdom, and heart. The ship lifted off smoothly. The desert of Solara stretched beneath them, glittering under the twin suns. Aaron watched as the dunes shimmered in light, thinking about the journey they had completed. They had faced the impossible, the desert, the labyrinth, the guardians, and the choice of the treasure itself. Each challenge had tested their skill, intelligence, and courage. Together they had succeeded. Lena checked the instruments and smiled. "The energy readings are spreading across the stars. It is like the tomb is sharing its power with distant colonies. Humanity is receiving it right now." Aaron nodded. Yes, the Pharaoh's intention was clear. The treasure was never meant to be hoarded. It was meant to be shared with those who could use it for the greater good. Rami leaned back in his seat. I never imagined I would see something like this in my life. The treasure that burns twice as bright. It is more than light. It is hope, knowledge, and the future itself. The team spent the journey home discussing the implications of what they had discovered. They documented everything, the inscriptions, the mechanisms, the energy patterns, and the lessons from the Guardians. Every detail was important. Humanity had been given a gift, and it was their duty to ensure it would be used wisely. When they returned to their spaceport, people noticed a change in the team. Aaron, Lena, and Rami carried a quiet confidence, a sense of purpose that could not be hidden. They shared their story carefully, showing the energy patterns, the symbols, and the knowledge they had gathered. Scientists, engineers, and explorers were inspired. Plans for new colonies, clean energy systems, and advanced technologies began to form. The tomb's energy is spreading, just like it was meant to, Aaron said during a presentation to the council. It is a reminder that humanity's greatest power comes from courage, wisdom, and working together. This is the legacy of the two sons, Lena added. The journey tested us, but it also showed us the potential of humanity. We are capable of great things when we act with heart and intelligence, Rami concluded. We cannot take credit for the treasure itself. The Pharaoh left it for those who would choose wisely. We were fortunate to be part of that. Now it is our duty to help humanity use it responsibly. Across planets and colonies, the energy from Solara began to inspire change. Explorers moved safely to distant worlds. Scientists discovered new sources of energy and knowledge. Communities worked together, building technologies that respected both nature and people. Humanity was growing stronger, wiser, and more united. Aaron, Lena, and Rami often returned to their notes, discussing what they had learned from the tomb. They remembered the desert, the labyrinth, the guardians, and the glowing orb. Each moment reminded them that true treasure was not only energy or knowledge, but the courage, wisdom, and heart to use it responsibly. The twin sons of Solara continued to shine, a symbol of the ancient Pharaoh's vision and humanity's potential. Aaron looked up at the stars one night, thinking of the tomb and the lessons it had taught. We have received something rare, he said softly. Not just a treasure, but a chance to make humanity greater than ever before. Lena placed a hand on his shoulder. And we will. Together we will honor the Pharaoh, the tomb, and the journey. Humanity will thrive, and the legacy of the two sons will live on. Rami nodded, his eyes reflecting the stars. The tomb tested our courage, intelligence, and heart. Humanity has proven itself. Now we move forward, stronger, wiser, and united. The team stood together looking toward the horizon where the twin sons of Solara had once shone. Their journey had ended, but its impact would echo across the stars for generations. The treasure that burned twice as bright had given humanity a chance to shine in its own way. Courage, wisdom, and heart had guided them, and now humanity had the light of two suns within its reach. The legacy of Solara. The tomb and the Pharaoh lived on, not in gold or jewels, but in the unity, strength, and brilliance of human spirit. Humanity had been tested, and humanity had triumphed, and so, under the light of the twin suns, the story of the tomb and its treasure became a symbol of hope, inspiration, and the enduring power of courage and heart.